Hey, gang, and welcome to yet another watch along. This will be the final watch along in our Southern in Hospitality weekend. Last night's watch along was Deliverance. Tonight will be Southern Comfort. Southern Comfort, though, Deliverance I've seen more than once. Southern Comfort was a new film for me. And those of you that have seen Deliverance, or those of you that watched Deliverance with me last night when I did the watch along, will see some similar parallels. Now, I'm not talking about the squeal like a pig scene. I think that squeal like a pig scene is unique to Deliverance, but there will be certain parallels between how these military guys treat the locals and vice versa. So you will see parallels there between Southern Comfort and Deliverance. So um, I'm not saying that this one is like really explicit or anything. Like I said, there is no squeal like a pig scene, but there are some violent scenes. Um, you might not want to have your kids in the room if you have kids that are sensitive uh, to seeing people. They're not really dead. We know that in these movies, but that appear dead and are in odd death stages or whatever you want to call that. So just a little disclaimer there. I don't think anybody's going to have any problem with Southern Comfort. And I think people know their kids well enough to know that if it's going to disturb them or not. So, a bit of housekeeping stuff before I add Chris on here and we get started with this watch along. I want to say too, I'm thankful to Chris for being on here with me tonight, because these watch alongs are a lot more fun if I do have at least one person to bounce things off of as we go along. But I've tried to do a decent job of getting the promotion out for what I'm going to be covering for this coming week. So I've got the Stephen's Kingdom stuff already up on the channel. I've got the Everybody Wants England. I've got the Apples and Oranges, where we're going to be talking about Final Exam on Apples and Oranges Wednesday night. Thursday night will be another triple threat review show. I'm going to be talking about Cat's Eye, The Cellar, and Cemetery of Terror, which is a Spanish slasher film, or Spanish slasher and zombie film, whatever way you want to look at it. Friday, I didn't have the Friday Foolish up because I hadn't talked it all over with Candace. Now I have Candace's approval on the topic, so I'll probably be putting that thumbnail up after this watch along is over. So, the other thing I wanted to share with you guys and gals is that I had been doing a movie munchies every other weekend as I've been doing watch alongs. However, this gal is starting to suffer a little bit of burnout. I think I'm trying to do too much at one time. So I'm going to dispense with the movie munchies for just a little bit. We'll give it a few months and we'll see how I feel at that point. I'm not saying the movie munchies won't ever return. I'm just saying I'm taking a break from them for just a little bit. But for those of you that tuned in today at 3 Eastern time today, I did make Southern Comfort fried chicken with butter dip biscuits. So for those of you that tuned in, you got to watch me as I fried up some chicken today with all these spices and all of that goodness. But anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and add Chris here, and we're going to get started with this movie here shortly. Hey, Chris.
Hey Dana, how's it going?
Good. I like your shirt you got on today.
Oh yeah, my happy birthday to
Yeah.
me shirt.
Is
Yeah,
that is that a Fright Rags one?
no, it's gutter garbs.
Gutter Garbs. Okay.
It's the first hold on 1 second. Yeah, what come here. Hey. Come here a second. Here Noah.
Hey, Noah. And Noah's got his shirt on too.
He does. Yeah. What was you needing, bud? My shoes. You found them? Yeah. All righty. Bye. Bye. I love you, bud. Yeah. All right. He just needing to find his shoes.
Well, any excuse to see a Noah is a good excuse for me, so I don't mind. And my husband's in here because he just said that the chicken was good. He did eat
Oh,
a
okay.
couple of pieces. Hey, bless.
But yeah, this shirt is from Gutter Garbs, and I got it on clearance from them,
Mm-hmm.
so it was only like $20.
Oh, that ain't
Um,
bad.
and well, it's better than what some of the prices are on these shirt sites nowadays. But yeah, it's my first shirt I ever bought from them. Well, actually, I got this, and I got a pumpkin head shirt in the same order. Plus, they do like little button sets, like the
Yeah.
round buttons. They're like $5 a set for 5 pins. And I got the My Bloody Valentine button set and the Black Christmas button set. So like I said,
Oh, cool.
those were $5 each.
That's cool. But I didn't think that was a Fright Rag shirt, but because it looks a little different than
Well,
Fright.
you never can tell. I mean, like a lot of their art on these shirts nowadays kind of all look very similar because a lot of the different artists that do these shirts kind of have a similar style.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And of course, if that is the poster art for Happy Birthday to Me. So if people are trying to emulate that poster art,
Mm-hmm.
then they're all going to kind of look a little similar.
Right.
So, Chris, I got to ask you, have you seen Southern Comfort before?
I have not. I have not.
Okay. So this going to be
I
your
read
first.
like a quick synopsis for it earlier just to
Mhm.
kind of see if it's something I would be interested in. And just like the little synopsis of the film that I read, I said, well, said I may end up liking that. Now, I had seen sorry I didn't get to join you last night for Deliverance.
Oh, that's okay. You were very busy. You and
Yeah,
Candace
I had
both.
a lot going on yesterday, unfortunately. Well, not really, unfortunately, but just I was really wore out after it was all said and done
I would imagine so.
because we had the party and everything yesterday for my two nephews. But before that, I was up at our flea market from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for their first annual collectors trade day, and they had about 18 different vendors up there that were just had nothing but like toys and collectibles and games and stuff like that. So it was really fun. I think they're going to try to do another one of those later in the year around October. So I told them I'm game for that because I had a blast doing it yesterday, and actually made quite a bit of money selling some stuff that I didn't need anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, if you can, offload some of your stuff that's, collectible like that, and it'll make some money, and you don't need it, or you have extra of it, or whatever. That's that. And my dad, like I said, my dad has gotten into buying and selling. Not necessarily toys, but he does have Hot Wheel cars. Sometimes he has baseball cards and
Hold on,
um,
let me go in. He's barking at the door.
um, but I hope everybody's having a good night so far. We're still in the early in the evening. By the time we're done with this watch along, it'll be a little bit later. Um,
Um, but yeah, I've seen Deliverance before,
mhm.
but I'm not the biggest fan of that movie. Um,
Yeah, I think Blissful said last night. She said she had seen it one time and that was enough
Like,
for her.
yeah, I've only seen it once, but I still like it. Kind of like it stuck with me. Like the
It
stuff in the
will.
movie. I was really young when I watched it. It was I was watched it with my dad,
Uh,
and my dad he's seen that movie several times too. Like, but the thing is, when I watched it with him when I was a kid, he rented it. So, and he had seen it before on TV. So when we watched the full film on
mm,
tape, there was stuff in there that they, I guess, was edited out on TV. And
oh,
he was looking. I remember him. I'll never forget this. He was looking at my mom.
yeah.
He goes, "Oh, I didn't remember that stuff, Jenny. I don't remember that stuff ever happening in the movie." And she said, "Well, Charles, it was probably edited out for TV."
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt that, in particular, that squeal like a pig scene was probably either completely excised or it was altered in such a way
Which
that.
that's definitely the most talked about scene of that movie. But for this one, like I said, I've never seen Southern Comfort, um, but I'm curious to see what it's all about.
Mhm.
But I just want to show you a couple of things that I got today at Ollie's, if you don't care.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So since I didn't get to join in on your taste test thing the other day, which I've already tasted these, so I know what they taste like, but um, I was like absolutely like shocked that I found they're cheese like cheese curls, like Cheeto Puffs,
Uh-huh.
but the brand is Hares. You've heard of Hares like chips?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, they're Hares chips, but the flavor is my favorite barbecue sauce, Stubbs.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're called Stubbs Sticky Sweet Barbecue Flavored Cheese Curls. And like I said, that's my favorite barbecue. I was like, wow, they actually might have Stubbs flavored stuff like that. Because like I love that barbecue sauce. They have all kinds of different flavors. Like my favorite is probably honey pecan in the barbecue sauce from Stubbs.
Mhm.
Love it. And this is what they look like. I mean, just there's like a cheese curl, but they're really good. Have you ever had Grippos, Dana?
Yeah, I love Grippos. Me and my brother both love them.
These taste like Grippos.
Uh-huh.
Not the Grippos now. Like the Grippos now are like hot as hell, but like these taste like the old recipe
Yeah,
of
right.
Grippos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
that's
so
what I
good.
should have said. Me and my brother like the old ones. Now it's like they have, like somebody has taken a giant shovel and just like dumped stuff in like you pick up a chip and it's like weighted down with all
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it
Mhm.
really is. But the other I got those from Ollie's, by the way. But the other thing I got from Ollie's is that so there was an announcement made the other day from Universal Studios in Florida,
Mhm.
and basically it's something they've been working on for a while, and so they're finally opening next year a new part of the park called Dark Universe,
Yeah.
and it's all going to be Universal Monsters themed. They're going to have a couple different rides, like one for the Wolfman. There will be one called I think it's Frankenstein's Manor, and in the Frankenstein's Manor ride, it's going to be like a dark ride, what they call a dark ride, and so it's kind of like a roller coaster too, I guess you could say, but it is going to have all the monsters like within there because like the whole like story behind that ride is that the great great granddaughter of Frankenstein has is this new mad scientist, and she's determined to capture all of the Universal monsters. So, but and take control of them and all that. And but Dracula has other plans, and he like so disturbs the whole process, and all the Universal monsters break free, I guess, within the ride and stuff. So I'm really excited about all that because there's going to be like vampire restaurant
Yeah.
themed or themed restaurants, and just they're going to have like a monsters hunter like pub,
Yeah.
I think, and a bunch of different stuff. And
And I'm excited because Steve told me we're going to Florida next year. So
yeah, and as soon as I saw that, I sent it to Candace, and she was like, "Oh my god!" And
yeah.
then I said, "Yeah, we gotta start saving now because I want to go when they open it." So, funny enough, after we all that was announced, and me and Candace talked about going, we went to Ollie's today, and me and Candace, we like to cook, we like food, we like to make finding recipes and making stuff. And I think you do too, Dana, because that's what I mean. Or else
Oh
you wouldn't do movie munchies if you did.
yeah. Right.
But we found this cookbook today at Ollie's. It's the unofficial Universal Theme Parks cookbook.
Ooh, that is
So, and it
cool.
just has a lot of stuff in it, that stuff that you would find within the parks that they sell. Like, there's a breakfast and pastries section, and there's one called egg white Florentine, and
Ah.
see that.
Uh-huh.
And everything in here looks really good. Like, here's one, a raspberry and passion fruit cream crepes, and so
Oh, that's making me hungry for crepes.
and there's just all kinds of stuff in here. Oh, there's like a recipe to make the lard lad donuts from the Simpsons, and
Oh,
so it
yeah.
has those
Oh
in
my
there.
God.
So like everything that like pretty much I guess that they sell within the parks of Universal, there's recipes for them in this. So, and if you haven't Ollie's and you want to pick that up, it was just $4.99. They have killer deals on their cookbooks.
I think we have a Ollie's here in Louisville, but it's just I got to figure out where it's at, and then I got to get Steve to take me there.
But like I got that because we talked about going to Universal Studios. I was like, well, so maybe we can start making some of this stuff and can
Right?
prepare to see if it's what we like, and that way when we're there we know what we want to order.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's an excellent idea. And so, um, I'll tell everybody, and we'll give everybody a couple of minutes in case they're watching along. This is available on YouTube because I sent Chris the link
Yeah,
for
that's where I'm
it.
watching from.
And it does have ads, I will tell you that. But, you know, just if you're watching it and you need us to let you know where we're at, or if Chris needs to ask me where I'm at, if I ad stops him, we can do that. But I'm at the 20th Century Fox logo right before the movie starts.
Which logo did you say?
20th Century Fox.
Okay, because I gotta get past this film rise.
Oh,
Logo.
yeah, because that one opens with the film rise. And for everybody that's watching along, I'll give them a couple of minutes for because we usually don't get started until about 7:20, usually with these or thereabouts with these watch.
Um, Candace might have already told you, but I'm also drinking what is our concoction of Ecto Cooler,
Oh,
uh,
cool.
because Candace found a recipe on I think Reddit or somewhere,
Hmm.
and it's just that Tampico, I think is the brand. Tampico. Let me see. Yeah, Tampico Citrus Punch, Minute Maid Lemonade, and Green Food Dye. And if you ever had Ecto
It
Cooler
sounds good.
back in the day, it tastes identical to it, and it's like crack. I'm addicted to it.
I'm addicted to like any kind of like punch like consistency of drinks or punch flavor. Like I love tangy party punch. You know that party punch that you would have at baby showers
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
wedding showers
Is that
and
the one like they would sometimes put like whipped cream in it or something, or some
well,
kind of. It's like you know what I'm talking about when they make punch and then they put like some kind of like whipped cream or ice cream or something in the
well,
middle.
the kind my mom always made, you put sherbet in it
Yeah,
and you would put like 7 Up and sherbet and orange juice and pineapple juice and you would mix all that stuff together, and that was the best punch ever. There's no substitute. If you're gonna make party punch, you got to make that kind. But that ecto cooler stuff sounds amazing.
Yeah,
So
it's great. I love it. I told Candace, I said I could drink this all the time.
yeah, Blissful says rainbow sherbet. Now you can use rainbow sherbet, and I have used rainbow sherbet, but what my mom would traditionally use was just orange sherbet.
Mm.
And when I make that Grinch punch at Christmas time, I try to use lime sherbet.
What
Uh,
is it that you make at Christmas time?
it's called Grinch punch.
Oh, Grinch punch. Okay.
Yeah, you use like that Hawaiian punch, greenberry rush, stuff in that big old bottle. You use that.
Do you put something in it to make it sour?
Ah, well, because I think it's got. Does it have pineapple juice in it? I'm
Other
thinking
word,
it
if it's the Grinch themed, it's got to be at least a little bitter.
a little bitter because of the Grinch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it tastes pretty sweet to me, but maybe it's after the Grinch's heart grows two
Yeah.
sizes,
It's like,
and he's not so
yeah,
bitter.
we'll go with that.
That's the only explanation I can give for it. But I got this picture to put it in from Amazon because the lady that did the recipe for it, she showed you how to make your own Grinch picture.
Mhm.
And you put the sticker eyes and the mouth and stuff on there, and then when you pour this green punch in there, it looks like a Grinch head.
Oh wow.
So it's really cool. I One of my movie munchies, I actually made it. So if you want to go back in the archives of my,
Oh, okay. So you do have a
Mm,
movie munchies for that. Okay.
I did. It was a quick one, but I did do a movie munchies for it. But gang, it is now 7:23. So I guess because this is an hour and 40 something minutes, just like Deliverance was. So we'll go ahead. We'll do the countdown and we'll go ahead and get this movie started here. So here we go. Three, two, one. Press play. And hopefully, number one, I'll have subtitles, and I hope Chris has got subtitles on the YouTube version.
Yeah, I usually do. I have well, this one has subtitles that I can use for it. Usually, no matter what I watch, I always have subtitles of what I watch. Just cause for one, it's just something I got used to because I used to have a good friend who was deaf, and he just that's something we got used to doing was when we watched movies together, he would have subtitles. But over time, I've really kind of gotten hard of hearing myself, so they're helpful.
It's going to happen to all of us eventually. So we're seeing Peter Coyote. Peter Coyote is on here. Well, I saw him real quick. You'll see him again. There he is. And I love Peter Coyote and anything he's in. I think he's a great actor. But you're going to
Mhm.
see several familiar faces in this movie. I think that's Powers Booth right there. A very young Powers Booth. So these are I guess like National Guardsmen, but they're going through a training exercise and they're down in Louisiana.
Hmm.
So it's not a war or anything that they're participating in, just
Right, it's just like a
training.
training ground.
And I think Candace, I got Candace on my brain right now because I just talked to Candace not very long ago. I think Bliss will put the link for Southern Comfort in the chat. This guy here that was kind of playing a trick on him, and they're kind of mad at him. The guy that's got the bullets across his chest there. That guy was in the Final Terror. If you've seen the Final Terror,
But which one were you talking about?
let's see if he should. The guy in the middle there that's got the bullets going across his chest. They'll show him again here. I'm sure.
Oh, the bandolier that he's got on with the
Yeah.
bandolier bullets.
Keith Carradine, I think it's Keith Carradine, is on here as well.
Yeah, I seen that name in the credits when I looked at.
And this guy here is on the thing.
That's TK Carter. He plays
Yeah,
Niles.
yep, sure does.
Funny story about him. So about a year or two ago, Horror Hound was putting together this like thing reunion. They was trying to get as many cast members that were still living that they could possibly get, other than like Kurt Russell, because I don't think Kurt Russell would do something like that. But like,
It'd be cool if he did, though.
and they couldn't get John Carpenter either. But like, they wanted TK Carter to do the show, and he apparently thought that he was the biggest thing since sliced bread because he just would not do it unless he was paid more than any other guest at the show. So kind of interesting that it seems like he might have an ego.
Sounds like it, and that's a shame too, because I always loved that character in the thing. I liked a lot of the
I mean, I like him, but that was really weird. And I talked to a friend of mine about that. And I was like, so strange. Like he thinks so much. I mean, I not to discredit him as an actor or anything, but like, I mean, you know what I mean. He just it's kind of wild to expect to. He thinks he was such a big star. He was because I think at that same show they had like, oh my gosh, I can't remember. But anyway, they had some really big name guests and ones that like he wasn't on the level of or anything. But
and I'm not gonna say the word because just saying the word, it doesn't matter what context it's in, can get you in trouble with YouTube. But if you guys and gals that are watching this, if you were listening to the audio, of course, me and Chris can't listen to the audio because that would get us in trouble. But the N word was used. That's all I'm going to say. The N word was used, and this kind of movie probably would not fly today. It probably wouldn't get made today.
Yeah, it was just you unfortunately, I mean, heard that word in a lot of films this time, and people will say, well, it was a product of its time. Well, and it was, but that word that Dana's referring to, it's no matter what time period it was, it's never been okay to use that.
No, it's not. I have never liked that word at all. I think I would rather hear somebody say the F word than to say that word.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'd say the F word a million times before I would say that word.
Because it sounds so ugly. It's a very ugly word.
It's disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
Got a big can of Copenhagen strapped onto his helmet.
Yeah,
that's something that I've never done. I have no interest of ever is chewing tobacco.
Did I ever tell you about my experience with chewing tobacco? My Uncle Johnny, when he was still alive, me and my cousin Kim, his daughter, we're just, kind of hanging around him, and he always chewed tobacco. Him and my Uncle Scotty always chewed tobacco.
Hmm.
I don't think they smoked, but they would use that nasty old chewing tobacco. So my Uncle Johnny thought it would be funny to give me and his daughter a little bit of it. And I chewed some of it and I was like, ugh, I just spit it out.
Yeah.
And I remember my Uncle Johnny just laughing about that. That's my dad's brother. But but anyway, that's my story about chewing tobacco.
It's nasty for sure, in my opinion.
Mhm.
One of my best friends chews and carries around when he's chewing, he carries around an empty pop bottle and spits all that juice in there. And I'm like, that's disgusting for real.
There's some people that will spit in the floorboard of their vehicles.
Ooh, God.
If they don't have a cup or something to spit it in,
Nope.
I've known people that will do that.
Lord mercy. I can't fathom that.
And
That's
back in
crazy.
the old days, there was older women, like people's grandmas and stuff, tobacco. It's like,
Like Ann
oh,
Ramsey probably chewed
she
tobacco.
probably did. She probably smoked cigars and chewed.
She's just like hateful to everybody and just trying to chew my tobacco in here. Candace was telling me, like, she said she watched something with Ann Ramsey once, not to get off an Ann Ramsey tangent, but said that, like, she played all these mean characters and stuff in film, but in reality, she was like this sweet, like, genuine woman.
Brian James is also on this movie. I almost forgot until I saw his name pop up there.
Ryan, I said, what was it? Is it Ryan Cooter? Was that guy's name that does the music for this?
Hmm.
Okay, it's an odd name.
So this definitely, I'm pretty sure it was filmed in Louisiana. That definitely looks
Oh yeah, you can
like.
tell. You can tell this is because I've been there, and I just went to an
Oh,
yeah. There we
I
go.
couldn't hear Chris for a second. He kind of went out there. I didn't know if he got muted or
Oh, hmm.
it
Can
just
you hear me?
did. Yeah, I can hear you now, but your
Okay.
audio dropped out a half a second ago.
Um, but yeah, I've been to Louisiana, and you can definitely tell by the environment there that they're in. It's yeah, that's what it looks like in lots of parts of it.
And of course, you see Walter Hill's name there. I believe Walter Hill directed this too.
He did, yeah. I think so. I think when I looked it up earlier, it said it was directed by Walter Hill.
Yep, there we go. And this looks good on the Blu-ray. I watched it the first time around and watched it in 4K, and it still looks really crisp and looks good on the Blu-ray too.
Yeah, I'm not sure where this transfers from on YouTube, but it's pretty good quality.
They may have taken it from the Vinegar Syndrome release, maybe.
I can't think of
But
this guy's name right here, but he was in Tremors.
uh,
And I think is it Brian something maybe or
this guy here.
yeah. You remember him in Tremors?
Oh, it's been so long since I watched Tremors.
It's like him
Michael
and Kevin.
Gross is the big person that I
Well,
remember.
yeah, Michael Gross plays Burt Gummer, but and he's in every one of the Tremors movies ever made. Uh, but that guy I was referring to there, him and Kevin Bacon are like the two main guys
Oh,
in
okay.
Tremors.
And if anybody's interested in what the Vinegar Syndrome release looks like, this is the release that came out. It's really They really did a good job on it. Of course, you had to pay a pretty penny for it too. So right here, they're coming up on. I think these guys are poachers, um, and
So was that a real deer?
I'm not sure, but it sure looks like a real one. I've seen plenty of deer because my dad's a hunter, um, and it's possible. Now, this is where they make their mistake because we're going to find out you don't take canoes that belong to poachers, no matter what reason you're wanting to take them. And they're where these guys are going. I didn't bring this up earlier. These guys are planning on going to meet up with some, how shall I say it, ladies of leisure. You know, it's like that
Escorts.
would
Let's call them escorts.
would be nice to call them escorts, but they're really wanting to get into town so they can, party with these ladies. So
Hmm.
the quickest way they're thinking to get across the bayou is to steal these poachers' canoes. And we know as watchers of this film, that's a bad idea. So finally, Peter Coyote says, okay, write them a note. We're going to take their canoes. It's like, I don't think these guys are going to understand. Hey, we're just borrowing your canoes here. So this is one of the parallels I see between this film and Deliverance is that they didn't steal canoes in Deliverance, but they are in canoes.
Right.
So here's the poachers. And something tells me this is not going to turn out very good. And they're being disrespectful to them and, insinuating that they don't understand and they're dumb.
It's just Louisiana.
Mhm. And those are fake bullets, but those guys don't know that.
You ever think that Peter Coyote had like kind of a resemblance to David MG that played Flyboy in Dawn of the Dead?
Oh, well, they're speaking of Peter Coyote.
Yeah.
uh,
Well, That
That was
also kind of happened to Flyboy and Dawn of the Dead.
yes, it did. But yeah, come to think of it, since you mentioned it, Chris, yeah, he does.
Yeah.
But I remember when I first watched this after I got this in from Vinegar Syndrome, I was like, holy crap. Because that just seemed to come out of nowhere. You
Yeah.
know, Peter Coyote's character getting
So
half
when
his
you
head
you
blown off.
bought the Blu-ray, you were it was your and you watched it. It was your first time watching it.
Yeah. I had heard about it and heard that some parts of it were similar to Deliverance. And I was like, well, Steve said, you shouldn't blind buy it, Dana. You might not even like it. But
Well, also, you know what else it kind of reminds me of?
what's up?
Predator,
Mm,
because you have this squad that's going out into this kind of like wilderness setting, and then they're ambushed.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
so you know, and also the one guy that they showed earlier. If they show him again, I'll let you know. I'm not sure. I think it was Powers Booth's character. He was kind of like he's sitting there. He is back there, and he's kind of like weary about as they were getting in the canoes. Like
Yeah.
he knew something wrong with it, and that reminds me of Sonny Landham's character in Predator because he kind of sensed like something bad was going to happen.
Yeah, I think the Powers Booth character is kind of like he goes along to get along.
And funny enough, him and Sonny Landham kind of look alike.
Yeah. So these bullets here that this guy has, he actually has some real bullets on him. They're not supposed to have any, but
That's
he does.
that's assault rifle ammunition there.
Mm.
An ad, but at least it's allowing me to skip these ads. So
Oh, well, that's good. So this is like a lot of other movies of this type that there's always arguments. There's always a shifting of blame about who's to
yeah,
blame for their predicament.
redneck.
Well, it's like they tipped over in a canoe. What do you expect? He said his radio was in the lake or in the bayou. So now that is not that guy, but the other guy they were showing. That is Keith Carradine.
Mhm.
And when I watched this for the first time, I kept seeing people that I knew from other movies. I was like, dang, everybody's in this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of familiar faces for sure.
I like the way this is filmed too because you kind of see them talking superimposed over the top of them carrying the body.
Hmm.
I haven't seen anything filmed quite exactly like that.
No, I mean, usually sometimes you'll see a scene happening in a film and hear the characters like narrating what's going on as it shows the scene, but never really think where it blends the two kind of like scenes together like that, where they kind of seems transparent almost.
Right. Or, in the case of De Palma, he would do a lot of split
Right.
screen.
That too, yeah. That was one of the things I thought of too, is like because he had De Palma had such a unique way of filming.
Just watching this stuff, like they're they're wet and they're going through this bayou area and man, all I can think of is the bugs and how itchy it would be going
Mhm.
through here.
And there are a lot of movies that have been based out of Louisiana and and filmed there and everything. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that there's never been a film like, well, you know how when they did Maximum Overdrive and Stephen King got AC/DC to do the entire soundtrack. I'm
Mhm.
surprised there's not been like a Louisiana like based film where they got CCR to do the entire soundtrack.
That's interesting.
And if you don't know who CCR is, people, come on, come on.
Mm. Yeah, you're missing out. My dad introduced me to CCR.
Yeah, I think my dad did too.
My dad introduced me to CCR, the Guess Who, Three Dog Night, all those bands like that. So now they found out that he has, some live ammunition. So now we're seeing Powers Booth kind of taking a little more control here. At first, he was kind of like taking a back seat. So, Chris, what are your initial thoughts on this?
Well, if you can't tell, I'm pretty deep into it. I'm liking it. That's why I'm
Yeah.
not saying. That's not why I'm not even saying much because it's really drawn me.
Mm. And I hope that I don't break Chris's concentration because I tend to ramble as the
We
movie goes
carry ropes, RC colas, and moon pies.
on. Yeah.
Man, that's some southern shit right there. Some RC colas and moon pies.
So they're smoking a little pot too there. I believe though I like TK Carter's character in The Thing better than I do on here.
Did you ever watch Good Morning Miss Bliss, which was the catalyst for Saved by the Bell?
I don't think I have.
So Good Morning Miss Bliss was Saved by the Bell, but it had a little bit different cast. It had, Zach Morris, it had Screech, it had Lisa, um, but the rest of the kids in that cast were different from what the other Saved by the Bell characters were, and but the whole show was not focused around the kids; it was focused around the teacher, Miss
Mhm.
Bliss. But anyway, TK Carter was in that as like the guy at the school that like did the early morning announcements and stuff.
Oh, okay. Now Chris will be going out and buying this movie.
Probably, it's liking it pretty good so far. But for some reason, like I've never been interested to anything really to do with military, but when it
Yeah,
comes to movies that's with it's got military based stuff in it, I always get like drawn into it, like
me
Full
too.
Metal Jacket,
Yeah.
Platoon, um, We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson,
What
uh,
about Apocalypse Now? You like that?
Apocalypse Now, yeah, Saving Private Ryan. There's one I really like called Boys and Company C,
I
or
don't think I've seen
Stripes with Bill Murray. I even
Stripes. Yeah. What about Born on the 4th of July with
Oh, Tom Cruise, yeah, that's another good one. And then even like the stuff that's in Forrest Gump,
yeah.
um, just but everything about Forrest Gump is awesome. So not just the military
Um,
stuff.
there's another Brian De Palma film, Casualties of War.
Is that the one that has Sean Penn and Michael J. Fox,
Yeah.
and they capture that like Vietnamese girl or whatever?
Mm.
Yeah, that one's kind of
Yeah,
rough.
it's very disturbing. I
Yeah,
ain't even gonna
because that
lie.
was because that was a true story.
Mm.
That
Born
that
on Born on the 4th of July was a true story. I read
yeah
the book
yeah
years.
that's true.
Yeah, I found myself getting kind of quiet at times with Deliverance, getting sucked back into that movie as well.
I swear, I think that I've heard my father-in-law talk about this movie at some point. Um, at least it was somebody. If it wasn't him, at least I've heard somebody mentioned the name of this movie before, but like I said, I'd never seen it until now.
I need to ask my dad if he's ever seen this one. This seems like a movie my dad would have seen.
This would definitely be something that my father-in-law Carl would have watched,
Mm.
uh, because I remember going to their house one day and like you mentioned, Casualties of War. He was watching it one day because, well, he had never seen it before, and I think I sit down and watched it with him. But he was watching it because he was a big Michael J. Fox fan. So
Mhm.
I think it was just one he hadn't seen before.
So I think this might be the introduction to Brian James's character here.
Looked like he was skinning a possum or something there.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Damn, it's Jim Henson.
Well, did it ever cross you guys' mind that he was skinning a possum or something? Like, that's why he's got a knife.
Oh wow. So is this guy supposed to just have one arm?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was
Because if that's the case, unless there's something they haven't shown yet that I don't know about, um, if he's just a one arm, you could see clearly the other arm was hidden
yeah,
inside of his coat.
yeah, they didn't do a good job of hiding that.
That coat he's got is massive too.
So this guy's evidently a gator poacher,
Hmm.
getting some of that alligator meat, Chris.
Oh yeah.
If you use dynamite to kill fish, I don't think there's going to be anything left of the fish.
And what did you say the guy that speaks French here? What did you say his name was? The actor's name?
Brian James. Brian James has been in several things, but did you ever watch that movie, The Horror Show? I think
The
that's
horror show with
yeah,
Lance Henriksen,
yeah. I
also
think
known
Brian.
as House 3.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Brian James is on that.
Is he? Because I've seen it. I didn't recognize him there for some reason.
And there was that movie that I think the Coen brothers and Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, a bunch of those guys, Crime Wave.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen Crime Wave in a really really long time. Probably since I was in like high school.
I'm pretty sure Brian James is one of the bad guys
Hmm.
on that. I think he made a career of playing bad guys. So clearly he is not supposed to have an arm because they've mentioned it a few times. Now, here's a very this scene is bizarre. He's putting war paint on right here. And then he's making a dang Molotov cocktail there. And there's dynamite in there. Gang, I hate to, but I know that I can leave you in Chris's capable hands for a minute or two. Um, I'm gonna grab me some of that lemon layer cake that I've got. I blame Candace because she made me hungry for lemon stuff after Friday Foolish, so I had to get a bunch of it. But I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. Yeah, I apologize, guys, that I'm not talking as much during this watch long. This is, like I said, this is my first time seeing this film, so and I can, or we're only about 40 minutes into this film, and I can already tell you that I love it. I love the subject matter and everything, so it's really, really got my attention. And just sometimes when I'm seeing stuff that I really like and I'm seeing it for the first time, I kind of zone out and I just like try to figure out what's going on, like what's going to happen next. But anybody that's listening, or everybody's that's watching with us, appreciate you guys for being here again tonight, me and Dana. I wonder why they don't make more movies like this nowadays. I feel like a story like this could work in a newer film. Um, there might be a few things that wouldn't fly nowadays as far as like language and certain words like that me and Dana were referring to earlier. But you could leave that stuff out and still do this same type of film. I mean, easily. And they did a lot of stuff like this back decades ago, and it always worked. It felt like it all, and but I don't know. So many people nowadays just want to um, focus on remakes, I guess, and just I don't know, just like can if anybody is listening right now or watching this with us, is there anything like coming out or has come out recently that you were super excited about, you're anticipating? Like for me right now, like Um, the biggest one I'm anticipating is next month is the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. And that's another thing that's really big right now. And I know some people get tired of them, is the comic book superhero movies and stuff. But that's, that's a personal preference for me. I do enjoy those types of films. Um, I enjoyed several different types of films, including like this movie right here. Like I said, I've never seen this before, and I love it. Um, and as I said, I've always had that kind of interest in military based films. So
Okay.
I
I'm
tried to keep them entertained, Dana.
I'm sure you did a fantastic
I,
job.
I was saying to them that they why don't they make movies like this anymore? Why? I mean, they could definitely take this same type of story for this and work it into a new type of film, not
Mhm.
necessarily a remake of this or anything, but just like same similar type of story. And I, because they did a lot of stuff like this back in the day, like I was saying, and it always worked. So
Right. I don't know. I didn't know if it was just me, but evidently it's not me. It feels like about 95% of the movies now. There are a few here and there that still resonate with me,
hmm
but it seems like, and I'm not just talking about, horror films. I'm talking about this is not necessarily a horror film. This is like a drama, you
well, it's suspense, thriller,
suspense and
a lot of
drama
stuff.
and stuff like that, but it's not
But
there's
it does have I feel like it does have some horror elements to it as
yeah,
well.
it does have those elements in
It's
it.
kind of it's kind of what do you call that? A cornucopia of like genres
Yeah.
combined. Um,
But I feel like at least 95% of the movies that get made now, and some people are going to disagree with me, I know,
Wait a minute.
don't,
You said the Cajun guy's name is Brian James.
yeah.
Now I don't know the guy's name, but he looks like a young version of the guy from Dumb and Dumber who eats all like the peppers, and they Lloyd and Harry, they kill him in that restaurant because they feed him the rat poison when they're supposed to give him his pills.
Oh, yeah.
Um, he looks like a younger version, but no, it's probably not him, but just like
I'll
something
have
about
to look into
his
that.
eyes.
Um,
But I did ask a question. I posed a question to the chat, and I'd like to hear your answer as well. And it could be any genre of films. Is there anything that you had been excited about that came out recently or is coming out soon?
well, I'm actually, well, in a violent nature, I liked that one really
Mhm.
well. That one that me and Steve saw recently, as far as a horror movie. Um, but I'm really looking forward to the new Beetlejuice
Yeah, I
movie.
am too. I think my big one for me, like I told Chad already, is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Well, that one I'm looking forward to as well.
So me and Ashley, because Candace is not, she has no interest in those films really. Um, so I think I'm heading to Lexington next month to when it comes out. Me and a couple of friends of mine, we're going to go watch it. I think in an IMAX theater or something.
Mhm. Oh,
Um,
cool.
so I'm super excited about that. Um, but I did watch a movie recently, Dana, and I think it's a couple years old now, but I watched it on Hulu a couple nights ago, and I I thought it was a really great movie. I felt like, for an alien invasion movie, it had a really unique story.
Mhm.
And that movie is called No One Can Save You. Have you seen that one yet?
That title sounds so familiar.
It's very good. There's
I
only
don't
about
but I
four
don't
words of dialogue in the whole film.
really.
Yeah.
Now this, not to interrupt Chris, but this dog attack scene is this is
Oh
pretty
wow.
vicious looking. At to me,
Yeah, it's
it looks
pretty intense.
realistic.
And they, yeah, they're you can tell they're really timing the shots with these
Mhm.
dogs and the way they filmed that.
Now I'm sure the animal action was supervised, guys and gals, so I'm sure these
Oh,
dogs weren't
absolutely, yeah.
really getting hurt or beat or anything.
No, they just went. They didn't have trained dogs. They just went and picked up a bunch of dogs at the local shelter there in Louisiana. Like, all right, attack. And those
Hey,
look like.
Batman, it's good to see you.
Hey man, how's it going? Uh, but yeah, those I'm not sure if they are or not. Those dogs look like Rottweilers.
Yeah, they did. But I know that they weren't really getting attacked, but it hurts me every time I see this scene because
Um, but yeah, Dana, if you've not seen that movie, that one I was talking about, that No One Can Save You, it's on Hulu. If you ever want to check it out.
Steve, you never know, Steve might have it on the on the hard drive somewhere. I may ask him if he's got that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed and it had a really big creepy factor to it, like that kind of like not really. It wasn't the movie scared me or anything, but
Uh-huh.
it does have some really tense moments in the film. I gotta look something up here because that's killing me. That guy, because I swear he looks like that guy from Dumb and Dumber.
And it could be. It's possible. You know, I went to the movie theater and saw Dumb and Dumber. Speaking of that movie,
I did too. It's my favorite comedy of all time. So no, that's not him. Uh,
it's not.
I swear by his eyes, it looked like him though.
Well, see, Brian James has those very intense eyes, and
Yeah,
anybody else that
I
has,
know him because of the picture they used for him on IMDb. Like I know him from a lot of other things. Yeah, Blade Runner being one of them, and The Fifth
yeah,
Element.
hmm
Um, gosh, now I got to figure out what that guy's name is in Dumb and Dumber. If it's not someone that I'm super familiar with a lot of their work, like I'll know their faces, but I can never place their names.
Mm. Oh, I was just thinking, I forgot to tell Candace about. I don't know if she's watching this or not, but I forgot to tell her how those spicy queso Funyuns are. She wanted to know how spicy they were,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
and
think she's at her mom's right now. So, because when
so
Noah came in here to get his shoes earlier, they were leaving.
I got you. So, Candace, if you happen to be watching this, but I'll send you a message later. They're not too spicy for me. They're about the right amount of spicy.
But that guy's name from Dumb and Dumber that I was trying to figure out, his name is Mike Starr. Um,
Oh, okay.
so if you ever like look him up for any reason, like look up Brian James at the same time, and like they
Compare.
look so similar. I swear. The Bear Trap, ain't it?
Mm, whole bunch of them. The rest are the last 7 bears in Louisiana. This is a movie, though, that's real easy to get caught up in. So if me and Chris both get quiet, just
Yeah,
there
sorry.
you go.
Oh
There's
wow.
the TK Carter's character there. Um, yeah, when things happen on this movie, they happen quick, and you
Yeah, it's
don't.
like when that's what I like about it is because it's something happens when you don't expect it to happen.
Mhm. I mean, first it was Peter Coyote getting half of his head blown off. Now TK Carter, one of those. What do you call them things, Chris? Those spikes that come up. Is that called anything specifically?
Um, I mean, I've just always called them spear traps.
Spear traps. Well,
Um,
that works for me.
but I don't know. There's probably another name for them.
And it's evidently cold because you wouldn't expect Louisiana to ever be that cold that you would see breath coming out of their mouths, but you can see it.
Which one of them is actually the thing?
Yeah, I could redo that.
You see their if you see their breath, that it's not the thing. Yeah, to some people that may be watching along with us, it might seem we might seem a little boring because we're not saying much, but it's just like, um, sorry. I mean, like I said, I'm wrapped up in this film, and it's really good.
Well, this is Chris's first time and watching it, and this is my second time watching it because I haven't watched it again since I first got it.
Because usually when we do watch alongs, we're like constantly talking over the film and just
Yeah, I just find myself with a good film like this. I just find myself just zoning out, and I think Chris said that earlier too.
and Walter Hill directed this, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check into more of his films now because this has really intrigued me. I also like Keith Carradine in this. You know,
Yeah,
he's a
he's
really
really
good actor
good in
too.
it.
I think I've kind of looked over him too, so I'm gonna try to check out some of his other stuff as well.
So here they go again, like shifting the blame again.
Man, he just like every time they show Brian James, I can't see anything but Jim Henson. I mean, because Jim Henson wore that kind of hat and everything a lot. Oh man, that's so funny.
Keith Carradine's hair is epic in this movie.
I just remember that guy. Fred Ward is his name. Um,
Yeah,
and
that's right.
he's the he's the one that's in Tremors. Like I said, um, yeah, and this may be only like the second or third movie I've ever seen him because I've seen Tremors an ungodly amount of times in my lifetime. So I know him that definitely, and it seems like he's also in. Seems like he was in a Stephen King film, like, but I can't think of. Now I gotta go look up Fred Ward's filmography
Yeah.
because I know I've
That's
seen
gonna
him.
bother me if I can't remember what Stephen King film he might have been.
Let's see. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else. Oh, that's right. He was Joe Dirt's dad. Joe Dirt was the first ever DVD I ever bought.
You know what my first DVD I ever bought was? I guess, well, I don't know if it was my first DVD I ever bought, but it was the first DVD I got after I got, yeah, I guess it was the first one because I got a home theater system, a DVD player with
Mhm.
with the surround sound stuff, and because I spent, y'all are gonna laugh, because I spent the majority of my money getting this home theater system. I didn't have much money left over, so the only movie I could get to try out with this system was that damn Psycho remake with Vince Vaughn. Oh man.
Looks like Fred Ward has been in a lot of movies that I've seen. I just don't remember him because, like Batman Nerd said, he was in Corky Romano. I don't know
Mhm.
if you've ever seen that one, Dana. It's
I don't think I've seen that.
Chris Kattan's in that. It's all right, but it shows he was also in Chain Reaction with Morgan Freeman and Keanu Reeves. Um, Looks like he was in the third Naked Gun movie.
Hmm.
Um, Escape from Alcatraz with Clint Eastwood. So yeah, I've seen all those movies I just mentioned. So I just don't remember Fred Ward being in them for some reason. I don't know.
Batman said his first DVD, I guess, was 13 Ghosts.
Ooh, it's a good one. It's a good one to have. I love 13 Ghosts.
It's a lot better than the Psycho remake. I have to say that.
I don't mind the Psycho remake with Vince Vaughn. I thought Vince Vaughn did fine in that.
Eh, I mean, it might have been better if he wasn't. I guess the scene that really bothered me was if you watch the original Psycho, we know Norman Bates was getting
Right.
off watching Marion Crane get
Yeah,
in the,
well,
go
it's
get in the
no
shower.
comparison to the original
Yeah,
at
right.
all. But for what it was, I guess I just feel that way because I've seen a lot worse remakes from horror films than the Psycho remake. So I guess I give it a little bit more credit than ones that I really didn't like.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I went to the movies and saw the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Mhm. And
And
that's probably one of the worst to me.
oh, I think I was just shaking my head. But, I'm
Yeah.
going to bring up this one again. I know people say it's not a remake, but I consider it a remake. But Evil Dead 2013, I mean, that was the only one, though. That was the only movie ever, Chris, that I almost got up and walked out of the theater on.
Well, it's been, thought of by several people over the years as a remake, but uh, on in the past year or so, there's been comments made by the Raimi brothers,
Mm.
particularly Ivan Raimi, suggesting that it's not, and that it's just it is tied together with the rest of the Evil Dead films, and the same thing with Evil Dead Rise. Um, and so there's been talk that though they're all a part of the same universe.
Right. Which I respect that. I respect, anybody's opinion, not just the Raimis, but, anybody's opinion on it.
Yeah, and looking at it from that perspective, it kind of makes me want to, because I've not since I've learned all that and hearing about Ivan Raimi speaking on that, in person at Horror Hound at that Q&A. It's and you may be disappointed with me, Dana, but it's made me consider going back and looking at Evil Dead 2013 again
Mhm.
in a different perspective, and not looking at it as like they're just remaking the original Evil Dead or copying the story or whatever. Which I mean, there was similar things in it, and I don't mean to start talking about Evil Dead 2013 over this movie, but
No, that's okay.
yeah.
We can
But
talk
it
about
just there are similar like scenes within that. It is a trib you can see as a tribute to the original, and but I don't know. I may have to go back because it interests me now. Like after that, there's that theory going around, and Ivan Raimi talking about it. How like because that's why the books look different in Evil Dead Rise and Evil Dead 2013 because there's supposedly three different books
that.
as you see in Army of Darkness. So,
Yeah.
but sorry everybody, I'm done. We can watch the movie now.
I'll just say one more thing before we get off the Evil Dead 2013. I think the reason why I didn't like it was because I didn't like the characters. And I didn't like that whole drug intervention thing. That was the two big things that bothered me more than
Right?
anything.
Yeah, I didn't care for that either. But I know, but like I said, that just makes me look at it from a different perspective now because even that's included in there, and it wasn't anything that was included in the original. You got to look at those, I guess, as different characters, and everybody has different walks of life. Um, and drug addicts is definitely a real thing in this world.
So now it's raining, and as we know, the weather is changeable in Louisiana. So now they're in the middle of a thunderstorm, basically trying to bury, I guess, Peter Coyote and T.K. Carter's
Well, with it
character.
raining, at least the ground is getting softer for them to dig.
That's one positive. Hey, Candace. Candace says, "Hey guys, jumping on here late." Well, you're not that late, Candace. Really, we're just an hour and 5 minutes into it, and this is an hour and 46 minute long
Hmm.
film. So
It's a fantastic movie so far too. I mean, um, which I enjoy us pandering back and forth, giving our commentary on it. But this is definitely I'm gonna have to watch again on my own because I love the film or the cinematography on this. It's beautiful.
yeah, it's fantastic. So they've had to tie up the one guy because he was not acting right. So I believe that the character of Casper is supposed to be like second in command after Peter Coyote. And because Peter Coyote's character is dead now.
Well, I was trying to because I see it shows shots of them every now and then, but they do have patches on their uniforms that shows their rank. Um, And when I was in high school, I was in JROTC, so I got used to, or I got familiar with a lot of those, the ranks and stuff, because depending on certain things we did, they would like promote us and stuff. Because I would start out as a private, but then there's stuff like there's sergeant or staff sergeant, there's major, there's different ones, and you can all like recognize them if you know like the insignia on the patches.
Right.
So, but in this case, if you look like Peter Coyote, looks like he was their either their sergeant or their colonel or something like that. One of the higher ranking officers. So in this case, I'm not sure who would take that position since he got killed. Because, like I said, I haven't. I know they're all kind of like trying to throw orders at one another, and they're after that they may be looked as equal, but in another perspective, like there's rankings amongst them, but I don't know exactly who's got what because I haven't been able to locate anything on their uniforms.
Batman, yeah, I forgot, but yesterday was Bruce
It
Campbell's
was. For
birthday.
some reason, I was thinking it was today, but it was yesterday. And today, though, is actually the 35th anniversary of Batman 1989.
Ah. Hey, TJ. He says, just saying, hey,
Yeah.
rest in peace, Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, he
Exactly, TJ.
died. I think either it was on Wednesday or Thursday or something. Maybe before that. I'm not, but I did make a post about him. It was just like the picture from the ending of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I think Candace had a video clip of him and Kiefer talking, and it was a really good clip. Candace is actually bringing up something that we kind of talked about a little bit earlier. She says, "What's your favorite military-based film?" I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
named a bunch of them, but I don't think I named my favorite.
She
Uh,
says, "I don't know if it counts, but I love Forrest Gump," and I absolutely love Forrest
I
Gump
mean,
as
you can count Forrest Gump to an extent, I think, because there's a it's kind of a long military type thing, like from that era of his life. Um, and he's kind of seen when he gets in like the ping pong and stuff in the military. So they go into a lot of military stuff in Forrest Gump. So I guess I would count that.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
basic training. There's the basic training scenes and stuff where they're doing their guns and putting disassembling them, reassembling them, and all that. And Forrest is really good at it. Um,
yeah,
Batman says that Full Metal Jacket's his favorite.
I've never really sitting down and thought about it. What would be my favorite? I did mention a movie. I don't know if you ever seen it or not, Dan. It's called The Boys in Company C. Now
Yeah, that's one I haven't seen.
I
Yeah.
really do like that one. Um, I really like Platoon. Um, I like Apocalypse Now a lot. Um,
I have I don't know if I want to say a fondness, but the Vietnam era ones are the ones that I constantly go back to. Now, here's this very disturbing scene that I was talking about where I'd forgotten one of their other guys had gotten killed. So somebody has dug them up and tied them together. And I just, for some reason, that is a very disturbing scene to me. TJ says, I did a little tribute to Sutherland on TikTok. 2,300 likes and 34,000 views since Thursday. He was great in MASH. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love Donald Sutherland. I mean, I thought he was a
Ha-
fantastic actor.
Have you ever seen that movie that Donald Sutherland was in called The Puppet Masters?
Yes, I have. That
I
one's
love
good.
it.
It's really, really good.
And then he played the I don't know what you call it, but he was like the trainer for Buffy in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie.
That's right. Yeah. And by the way, that's fantastic, TJ, that you got that many likes and all that on that.
Oh, I just remember what he was called. They were called Watchers because that's what they called him in the TV show. But I don't know. I'd have to think about what my favorite like military based film is. But one I do really like, and it's kind of controversial to some people because it's stuff that they couldn't do in films nowadays for sure. And that's Tropic Thunder with
Uh,
Ben Stiller, Robert Downey Jr., Jack Black. There's a ton of people in that one. Tom Cruise is in it, and
mhm.
it's hilarious.
I would probably have to say, if we can count Forrest Gump, which Chris said he thought we could count it, I would have to say that today, Forrest Gump is my favorite one. But I like so many of the military films. But like I said, I especially the Vietnam era ones.
What about Predator? Can we count Predators in that?
I don't see why not.
If we can, then that would probably be my
Like
choice.
you could count the Rambo movies.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Um, First Blood. Yeah. Um, But yeah, if Predators included in that, that'd be my choice probably.
I say heck yeah, we can use Predator. Candace says In the Army Now is a great comedy. I agree with that.
It's
We,
it's
we mentioned
probably my least favorite Pauly Shore movie though.
Strike. Well, if you want to see a movie that has Pauly Shore mooning a mall security camera, watch Family of the Mall Eric's Revenge, and you'll get to see that. TJ mentions Private Benjamin.
Oh, the one with Goldie Hawn.
That's the one I was thinking of, unless
Yeah, that's the only one I know is with that name.
TJ says that's the only one. So okay.
Yeah.
Anymore, I can't remember. They've remade so many things and stuff. I'm like, is that the one or no? Batman says Operation Dumbo Drop.
Operation Dumbo Drop. Is that the one with Bill Murray? Or no, Bill Murray's in another movie with an elephant, I think, called Larger Than Life. But
Oh, right.
Operation Dumbo Drop, who's in that? Danny Glover or somebody like that? I don't know. I remember seeing it when I was younger, but I can't remember much about anything that happens in it.
Candace says, I don't know if you'd count The Pianist, but that movie is absolutely amazing. I can't say that I've seen The Pianist.
I guess it's like that with there's a movie called Life is Beautiful,
Mhm.
and which is probably one of the greatest movies ever made, and it's about like the Jewish concentration camps during World War II,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic. Sad, but it's really good.
So this is disturbing too. For me, anything with quicksand and somebody going like I have a fear of drowning, a very real fear of drowning, and to me that's like drowning. being sucked under quicksand. Batman says it does have Ray Liotta and Danny Glover
I
in it.
thought Danny Glover was in it. Yeah, I knew it. I was like, it's somebody like that.
Candace says Chris would probably say Major Payne.
Oh, I do love Major Payne for sure. I was actually talking with my good friends about Major Payne last night, and we were sending each other voice messages, and we were doing like our impressions of Major Payne, and I was sending one where I said, um, "Killing is my business, and business is good."
That's a great
I
impression,
love
Chris.
Major
By the
Payne.
way.
It's hilarious. I like a lot of those Wayans brothers guys. All the movies they've done, and in Living Color and everything they worked on is great.
Batman says, and Dennis Leary is also in Operation Dumbo Drop.
Man, he may be, but like I said, I seen it probably 30 years ago one time, and for some reason the name just always stood out to me because it
Yeah,
had. Yeah, I think Disney released it because that's why they were able to use the
Dumbo.
Dumbo in the title, and but yeah, I can't really remember much about it. Dennis Leary's great though. If you've ever seen
Yeah.
that TV show Rescue Me, oh, it's
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah, Candace, Chris is going to have to go and buy this so he can he can watch
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get this on some type of format. Um, Might as well go ahead and get that Blu-ray. You said Vinegar Syndrome released it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, Batman Apocalypse Now was
Yeah, I definitely would count. Um, that's a great one.
Mhm. I think Steve's got the 4K of that one.
That's I think they said that what's his name? Martin Sheen.
Hmm.
He after filming of Apocalypse Now, he had to go through like therapy or something because of just he said it was very like traumatizing and some of the stuff that they had to shoot for that film.
So, in case anybody was in doubt about how violent this movie is, it is violent because we just seen that guy Casper get shot multiple times.
It is violent, but it to me it is far from the most violent military based film that I've ever seen. And I don't know if you've ever seen We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson, but that has got some really like crazy gore scenes in that.
Mm.
And it's
Yeah, I
disturbing.
know of that one, but that sadly is one I haven't seen.
It's great. It's probably one of the better ones.
Candace says, "Would you count Terminator?" Well, you could count.
Mm,
Well, in there some.
no, I don't think. Well, maybe because the Terminators, the T-800s, they were through Skynet. They were that's who made all the, and then John Connor and all his like with Michael Bean who played Kyle Reese. Yeah, they were all part of like a military.
Yeah,
So in that case, I guess you could maybe count aliens as
yeah,
military because they're the Colonial Marines.
yeah.
So maybe
Batman.
yeah.
Batman mentions Jarhead
Oh, with Jake Gyllenhaal, yeah, you love that one, Dana. It's got your favorite actor
because
in it.
Jake Gyllenhaal's in it. Oh,
I think I think I've never seen the movie, but I know of it. But I think somebody said there's like a scene with Jake Gyllenhaal in that Jarhead movie where he's dancing around naked or something.
I don't think I ever need to see that in my life. Just that scene of him dancing around naked, I don't need to see.
Yeah, you can just ask Steve to do that for you.
That would be more. That would be better for me. Um,
No Time for Sergeants. Yeah, have you ever seen that one? Andy Griffith.
That's another one that I know the title, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's a good one. I forgot
I
about
think
that one until Kenneth mentioned it.
Candace said my mom said Star Wars.
I mean,
I guess
yeah,
you could because you've got
because the Rebel Alliance
some
and
soldiers.
the Imperial Republic are both kind of like military. Well, the Imperial Republican is more like is government, which military is government based, but I don't know. Like that's a whole rabbit hole you don't want to go down right now. It's Star Wars stuff because yeah, there's a lot to that.
I love it that Candace's mom watches these streams.
Yeah, she does. I mean, she Dolores, she likes a lot of the same stuff that we like. Because she was born in the late '60s, but her teen years and everything was mostly through the '80s. So
Mhm.
and that's a lot of the stuff that me and Candace like. Mostly is stuff from the '80s, and Dolores got to live through all of that,
Yeah.
and experience it firsthand. So I'm a bit jealous sometimes.
Me too, because I mean, I was a kid growing up in the 80s. I was born in 76. So the 80s was my time period, but my parents, like from a movie standpoint, my parents got to experience all those early 80s like horror films because mom and dad were still going to the drive-ins at
Yeah.
that point in time. And I'm just so jealous of that they got to see things like the Gates of Hell
Hmm.
at the drive-in. And I got to see the Gates of Hell much, much later at the drive-in. But I got to tell this story again, real quick, about going to see that. Me and Steve went to a drive-in up north. I think it was, I think it was the Skyline one. I want to say it was the Skyline drive-in, and we went, and I was so excited. I was finally going to get to see the Gates of Hell uh, in the drive-in format. So there we were watching it, and a friend of ours, Kyle, who does a show with Tim Gross. Um,
Kyle Poling.
yeah, that Kyle.
Yeah, John Smallberries from
Yeah,
back in the day.
exactly. So as it turned out, me and Steve were in a vehicle here, and then Kyle and his friend were in the next vehicle over. So how that happened, I don't know, but it
I
happened.
think I remember that. I think I remember Kyle telling me about that, but which I haven't talked to him in years.
I haven't
We
talked to
used to
him in
hang
a
out all the
while.
time at conventions whenever we would all have everybody was hanging out together in the friends groups and everything. Um, but because he was a big fan of popcorn too, like me, and like he
Mhm.
called me and him the popcorn players,
I can
and
hear
because
Kyle.
we both love that movie, and I think it might have been his favorite slasher too. Um,
Well, well,
he
what?
always liked that movie Spookies real
Oh
good too.
my God! Yes, yes. Um, but what I was going to say about that, it was so funny because I kept waiting for the Bob head drill scene in Gates of Hell,
Yeah.
and this particular print was missing that scene. So we got
Oh no.
getting the Bob head drill scene. We got two of the same shot of the car pulling up in front of the
Mm,
funeral parlor. And I remember clearly Kyle getting out of his vehicle and yelling over to me and Steve because I rolled down my window whenever I saw Kyle get out of the vehicle. He
mm.
said, "What the fuck happened to the ball trail scene?" And I was like, "I don't know." He was like, "What was that?" And the only thing I can think of was it was just that print was missing that scene.
Either that or something happened to the negative and they had to splice it together. Who
Yeah.
knows?
So we saw another one of their people is dead now. So they're getting whittled down pretty much.
Yeah. Again, it's just like Predator. Like this is Arnold Schwarzenegger and his name played Apollo and Rocky. You know, he's also in Predator. Carl Weathers.
Yeah, Carl Weathers.
These are the representatives for Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers.
So this part of the movie always seemed very tense to me because I was unsure who was going to be in this truck. Were they going to be those guys with the guns? Who was it going to be?
It's Kermit the Frog and Fozzie Bear.
That's right.
Moving right along. No.
I guess I didn't realize that, Batman. You say just learned last week ago that Jill Whitlow from Night of the Creeps is in Porky's as the girl who asked why they call Tony Gagnos meat.
Really?
I
That's
did not
her?
realize that was her.
I didn't either. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Batman is the authority on all things Porky.
Jill Whitlow is so nice too. Like first ever horror hound I went to back in 2009, which is the first Cincinnati show they did. They had a Night of the Creeps reunion at it, and so I got to meet her and Steve Marshall and Jason Lively and Tom Atkins, and they seem like the most tight knit group as far as like reunions go I've ever seen.
Really.
They were so cool with one another, just joking around with each other, like they had knew, they'd known each other for years, for doing the movie and everything. But they were like, it's like they knew each other like day in, day out, every day. Like they had not missed a beat, and it was so cool to see that. Yeah. You never met Jill Whitlow, you get a chance, I say take it because she is really, really super nice.
I haven't ever met her, so if I ever get a chance to, I will.
Well, you may, you never know, because I've heard some things. And speaking of that, Horror Hound should be starting back on their guest announcements for the September show
Yeah,
here
I'm
very soon.
excited because I'm already excited about what they've got on there now.
Yeah, Nathan from Horror Hound and his wife Jessica, they've been on vacation, so they've been taking a break away from
Well,
like
they deserve a vacation. Doing
oh yeah, they do.
conventions and a magazine and all that stuff, that's hard work.
Yeah. Speaking of, I don't know if you know her or not, Dana, but Jessica Dwyer, who's affiliated with Horror Hound, she's done several different articles for the magazine.
Mhm.
She has her own podcast. Forgive me, I can't remember what the name of it right now, but she covers like all stuff like fan related, like especially horror stuff. She's done work for the Joe Blow website. But today's her birthday,
Oh,
so I don't know if you'll ever listen to this, Jessica, but happy birthday.
yeah. Happy birthday, Jessica. That name sounds familiar to me. And if she's associated with the magazine, then
Yeah, I think the podcast she does is called Fangirl Radio or something like that.
sounds familiar
Um,
too.
but yeah, and she gets all these awesome gigs. Like she gets to travel and like interview different people. Like she interviewed Nicolas Cage not too long ago. And if you see her at Horror Hound, a lot of the times she is the moderator for a lot of the big Q&As. Like she was the moderator for the Raimi Brothers Q&A at the last Horror Hound.
See, I wish Steve wanted to go to those Q&As nowadays because used to, like, especially when we went to Cinema Wasteland, and we ain't been
Mm-hmm.
to Cinema Wasteland for years, but he liked to go to them, and now he's just not interested. And I'd like to.
The Q&As are one of my favorite things about the conventions because you know you can get like a combined interaction as all the fans are there. Like it's like you're all meeting them together at once, and you're able to ask them these questions in front of other fans and the other people on the panel, and you just hear a lot of stories that you might not hear anywhere else from them.
Exactly. So, to get back to the movie a little bit, um, they've been kind of Powers Booth and Keith Carradine's characters have been kind of rescued, and now they're right in the middle of like Cajun culture right here.
I like how you worded that, Dana. Kinda rescued.
Well, you're gonna see what I mean by that here in a little
Yeah, I'm getting a 2001 Maniacs vibe here, if you know what I'm saying.
because it's not necessarily that the majority of the folks here that are dancing around and all that are somebody to be wary of, but we're going to see somebody from earlier in the film show back up.
This is just a regular night in Hazard, Kentucky. Just go down the road to the VFW, you'll see something just like this.
Yeah.
That's not a joke.
I could imagine that something like that going on in Hancock County too, where I'm from.
Me and Candace and her brother went out to that VFW one night because they had like a live band and stuff playing at night, and it was wild. I was like, wow, I'm not used to this.
So, did you see, Chris? Did you see the canoe come up to the?
I think you're a little bit ahead of me.
Oh, okay. So, Powers Booth and Keith Carradine are looking out the window. Those two guys that killed some of their guys just pulled up in a canoe.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind because the canoe just now pulled up.
Okay. And so this woman's wanting to dance with Keith Carradine.
I'm gonna speed mine up a little bit. I'm sure I ain't gonna miss much.
And so they're afraid that these guys are going to want to kill them because they're the only witnesses to everything else. So, well, this kind of reminds me of something you might see at the fairgrounds at Hancock County, when they'd have a band come or something, and it was usually country music or something, but
For your bluegrass or
yeah.
like folk music, something like that.
Now, okay, I'm going to warn everybody. There's a scene coming up with some hogs that you might want to. It bothered me. I'll just say that because I'm not so sure that some of these people aren't real Cajuns and that they were really slaughtering some hogs here. So just if you're watching along and this and stuff like that bothers you, you might want to turn away here in a little bit. See, I mean, that looked too it's too real to me. I think that's real.
Um, I don't know. They may have used a tranquilizer dart.
I hope that's what they did. I'm really hoping.
That seems like, well, we can watch the credits and see if it says if any animals were harmed in the making of this film, because usually they will put that as like a disclaimer in the credits.
Right.
Um, but that, I don't know. That felt like there was possibly they used a tranquilizer dart, because if it was an actual boy, I think there would be more blood. See, you see blood there
And
now,
maybe those were they tranquilized the live pigs, and then they brought in
but I
some that
don't know. I could be wrong though.
it was just very disturbing because it goes back and forth between them dancing and what they're doing to those pigs, and it's just ugh.
Well, it is disturbing, but it's also a very southern thing.
Yes, it is.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in a holler where at the head of the holler there was a slaughterhouse.
Ugh.
So growing up, I would see these trucks come up past my house almost daily, bringing pigs and cows and goats and whatever up through there to be slaughtered. So it is disturbing, and it's disturbing to me, but it's also just something that I've kind of grew up knowing,
Right.
unfortunately.
Well, I grew up seeing a lot of, deer. My dad, cutting the hide off the deer and slicing up the meat, and I years of that, of watching that. Squirrel, dad would bring home squirrel, and um he'd skin the hides off of them and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
dang, it's freaking Tom Selleck.
So we only got about 6 minutes left of the film. So this is a very tense set of scenes here at the end.
What did he shoot?
That was blank. So I don't know if
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know what in the heck he was thinking he was gonna do. Was he gonna intimidate that dude with the blank?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what was that. I forgot that they had blanks in their
Yeah.
guns for. I was like, what the hell was that about? Oh, he's putting the bayonet on his gun.
Mhm.
Batman nerd, you said you never knew the Headland Camp model Batman sportswear. I didn't know that either till last night. I seen that the advertisement for like a catalog or whatever when she was like modeling all this Batman 1989 merchandise. So yeah, that's pretty wild, man. This kind of reminds me of the scene with Willem Dafoe in Platoon.
Oh yeah. Then we've got these slow motion shots here, and we're seeing the army jeep and the helicopter. And this might kind of piss some people off the way this ended. Are you at the end yet, Chris?
Yeah, they just kind of froze at the star and then it cuts the credits.
But I think I kind of like that ending because and Sonny Landon was in this, Chris. He was one of the hunters.
Shit,
Which
for
is
real?
uh but I think that ending worked for this particular film because my thinking is they got rescued. That, but I also
And
think
it's one of those things where I guess they left it open to you as the viewer to decide what happened there. I mean, it's implied that they're rescued. I mean, it's like,
right.
I mean, I like the ending. It's not like well, it wasn't great compared to the rest of the film,
Hmm.
but I mean, really though, if I'm honest about it, I mean, what else could they have done? I mean,
Yeah,
that was probably the best way they could have ended that.
because they could have let it go on a little bit longer and actually saw them either getting into the helicopter or getting into the army
Gee,
jeep. Um, but I also feel like, and this may be me reaching, that they were going to be maybe not court-martialed, but I think that they were going to be punished for what they their part in all of that.
mm,
And they had to get the permission of Southern Comfort Liquor. I didn't see anything about animal
that's what I was looking for too. I don't see anything about it, so that may have been real then.
which is very hard for me to watch. And while I was watching it this time, I was diverting my eyes a little bit so I didn't,
Right.
just because I know I'm a hypocrite. I eat bacon, I eat pork chops, I eat
Well,
ham.
you're not a hypocrite. You just
I feel like
no. I think it's just that I eat bacon and and pork products and stuff like that all the time. Like I'm a carnivore, if you will,
I
when it comes to that kind of stuff. But to actually see it done, I don't know. And a lot of people may say that I'm a hypocrite for that, but but to see it done, like an image of that is disturbing to me.
Mhm.
Um, but you know, and I was a little bit more hardcore about that stuff years ago because I at one point tried to be a vegan, and
I tried to be a vegetarian multiple times.
it didn't work out for me.
Uh, Now, the end of my Blu-ray here actually has interviews with, like, I saw Keith Carradine, I saw Powers Booth. Um, there's Peter Coyote. He was actually a sergeant because it says Sergeant Poole. So
Okay. Um, I seen something the other day that shoot. It wasn't really the other day. It was about like I want to say a couple weeks ago. It was on your birthday.
hmm
Um, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else, but it seems like it was for your birthday. But Eddie Deason, did Eddie Deason wish you a happy birthday?
he maybe did.
Do
I
you, do
don't
you, do
know.
you have him as a friend on Facebook?
I'm not even sure. I'd have to look
'Cause
and
I
see.
swear I seen him like wish somebody happy birthday, and I thought it was you, and I was like I thought I was going to talk to you about it, but I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, never mind. It's just I thought that was
Okay, it'd be
cool.
pretty. Even if he didn't, it'd be pretty cool. The thought of Eddie Deason wishing me a happy
I
birthday.
know I seen him wish somebody happy birthday, and I thought for some reason I thought it was you. But anyway, like I have him as a friend on Facebook, and I don't know. I always thought he was an interesting guy, like as far as like his roles in films. Like he was in Grease and Critters 2, and I think he was in Rock and Roll High School with the
And I want,
Ramones.
I want to hold your
Yeah,
hand.
I want to hold your hand, and he did like a lot of voice acting stuff too. Like he was the voice of Man Dark on Dexter's Laboratory.
That's right. Yeah,
Um,
I
and
love
he's
Dexter's
one of the
Lab.
kids in Polar Express as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I know he went through. He's an odd guy sometimes, but also interesting as well. And I say that with the utmost respect that I can, because I know he went through a hard situation here recently. He was posting some stuff on Facebook for
Uh-huh.
for close to a month there because like his like longtime manager, like I don't know, something happened there, and they had a big falling out.
Oh.
But anyway, I really like this movie a lot.
Well, see, Chris, I'm glad. I mean, I love it whenever I can show somebody a movie or it kind of introduce them to a movie for the first time that they haven't seen and that they actually like it. Now, if you had hated it, it would have been a different story, but thankfully you liked it really
No,
well.
I did. I like this movie a lot. This is definitely one that I'll probably be watching multiple times from here on out. And I don't say that about every movie. There are movies out there that I've watched one time and I don't really have any interest in watching them again. Um, but this one is really good. It's really caught my interest, and it's something I would like to study more. I mean, because I always like if I get interested in a film the first time enough, I know that when I watch it the next time, I want to be looking for things that I didn't see before,
Right. Exactly.
and yeah, yeah, it's really great. I mean, I loved it.
I like the tagline. There's actually a couple of taglines for Southern Comfort that I like. One is it's the land of hospitality unless you don't belong there, which
Yeah,
I
it's
think
kind of
is
like if you ain't from around these parts, boy, you better get out.
yeah. And the other one is not since Deliverance. Dot dot dot. I like that one.
I don't know. I've seen Deliverance, and it's a little bit more extreme than this film.
Yeah, yes. But I do like those two taglines. But I especially like the one about the land of hospitality.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that's a cool one. Actually, that's very clever. Um, have you ever seen Gator Bait?
I have. I think I watched it when Joe Bob showed it,
Have you
actually.
ever covered it on your channel?
I have not.
That's something you should do, I think.
Are you
That's a,
thinking maybe a watch along, Chris?
you
Or
should, yeah, or do like, you know, you don't have to do it anytime soon or anything, but I think it would be cool if you did like you know how you do like a watch along on Saturday and you do one on Sunday.
Mhm.
Maybe do like gator bait on a Saturday, and
Uh-huh.
then on Sunday you could do like Eaten Alive by Toby Hooper.
That would be very interesting. In fact, Chris, I'm gonna write that down. But I can't remember if Steve, I think Steve's got a copy of Gator Bait. I've got a copy of Eaten Alive. Um,
Which I'm sure you've talked about Eaten Alive before because Robert Englund's in that film.
yep,
Uh,
I most certainly did. Uh,
but
and I
if you've not done a watch along for it, that would be a good one. I think you could probably get several people interested in watching that.
I think that'd be a good double bill. I definitely do. Um, Thank you for bringing that up,
No,
Chris.
absolutely, no problem.
Um, I like people to, tell me what they would like to see me do, either streams on or watch alongs on. I'm always on the lookout for ideas. Um, but I just want to remind everybody that there should be a Stephen's Kingdom tomorrow night at 8. And
What films are you covering on that one?
I am going to be, hold on one sec here. Uh, well, I can get that to come up. Okay. The Dark Tower, Gerald's Game, and 1922. I'm going to try to find a copy of 1922 to watch.
Are you talking about the Gerald's Game that had Carla Gugino or however you say her last name in
I
it?
believe so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe
Oh,
so.
yeah. That's a good one. I love that one. It's got I can't think of the guy's name. I usually know his name, but he's the guy that plays Lurch in the Addams Family
Mhm.
movies, and he plays like the Moonlight Man or whatever in Gerald's Game.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's probably one of the more creepier aspects of
it
Gerald's
is.
Game.
And I'll tell you, when I was reading the Gerald's Game book, when when it talks about that person, that character coming in when she's
Mhm.
handcuffed to the bed,
Oh, it's
and then the whole
creepy.
scene that takes place after, at least in the book, it does, where there's a scene where she walks into the courtroom and that person is on trial there, and he turns around and he looks at her and he smiles and he
Mhm.
puts his hands up like this, like, I know you. I know you were handcuffed to that bed. I remember you. And it's
Yeah.
just the creepiest thing ever. I got cold chills.
And I'm sorry if it's a spoiler for somebody you've not seen Gerald's Game, but I have to do the impression of what he says in the You're made of moonlight. It's something like that. It's like,
Yeah.
and it's creepy, but it's all like when he says that and you hear his voice, it's so funny too to me.
Yeah. Candace, yes, I would definitely be up for that. In fact, I'm going to write that
Oh,
down
that's a
too.
killer idea, Ken.
Yeah, it is.
Because there's so much that you could do, like from the birds to Cujo to alligator to I don't know if you want to talk about snakes on a plane or not, but
You know,
I mean there's so much out there. You could I mean there's a lot of dog ones, like I said, Cujo. There's Man's Best Friend with Lance Henriksen.
yeah.
There's like, well, I mean, if you would you count werewolf films as like animal based horror or no?
Could, because I mean they're part wolf,
Yeah,
you know.
I don't know. Like maybe you should leave those out and just stick to like just the normal animals. Which the dog in Man's Best Friend was not a normal dog, but
But we could, if Candace wanted to cover insect attack films, I mean, you've got The Nest, which is, in my opinion, that's a great cockroach film. You've got Squirm. There's just like a
and then
ton.
there's like there's a lot
Kingdom of
of
the Spider.
aquatic stuff too, like Piranha and Jaws
Yeah.
and all that stuff too. If you look at that, um,
We could even have Cocaine Bear on there.
I did not like Cocaine Bear.
You didn't
I
like
don't know
that?
how you felt about it, but I did not like that movie.
I enjoyed it for what it was. I guess I'll say that.
Supposedly it's based on a true story, but I don't know. Some of
No,
that
I
was
do think
very
they
exaggerated.
embellished. I think they embellished some of that.
Um, but yeah, that's such a good idea though. Like I'm excited for you guys to
Thank
do
you,
that.
Candace. I'm always, like I said, I'm always looking for
Um,
ideas for particular streams that we could do.
you could even do like Stephen King's Sleepwalkers, because it's kind of the whole the cat thing. There's or Cat's Eye, Stephen King's
Yeah.
Cat's Eye. I don't know. There really there's so many options that you could
Well,
choose
there's
from with
that
that.
old movie, Ants,
Ants or Grizzly or
Grizzly,
Day of the Animals.
Day of the Animals.
There's all kinds. I mean, really, there's so much to choose
I
from.
wanted to say there's a movie called The Long Weekend, and I think that has something with animals attacking. I'll have to go
What
back and take a look at that one.
would you consider The Revenant a horror film?
You know what, Chris? I don't even know if I've seen that one.
It's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it. It's the one of the more popular scenes in the movies where he gets attacked by the bear.
I guess I haven't. I know that's another one. I know the title, but I don't think I've watched it.
Yeah, it's I don't know if you're a fan of Leonardo DiCaprio, but he's that's
I like him. I don't mind him in
yeah,
movies.
I'm a big fan of him because I think he's a fantastic actor and he does a great job in that. I loved him in Django with Jamie Foxx.
Mhm.
Just a lot of his stuff. He's worked with Martin Scorsese several times, like The Departed, and stuff like that. And I don't know, like I think a lot of people when they think of Leonardo DiCaprio, they're like, "Oh yeah, that guy from Titanic."
That's right.
um, but he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
is. If you ever seen The Wolf of Wall Street, that movie is
Yes, yeah.
so awesome.
Uh, Candace says Gerald's Game is a great book. It's one of the few books that made me cringe. There's one particular part where it's describing her kicking a certain part of her husband and the sound that follows. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that, but
I'm
yeah.
trying to remember what she's talking about. Oh, that's in the book. You're talking about the book. I've not read the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should try to read the book sometime, Chris.
Yeah, I
I think you
may.
would like it.
I get so lazy. I got so many books that I need to read that I have not read before, but I get lazy and I'm like, maybe I should just find an audiobook and listen to
Well,
that.
I mean, to be honest, I do that a lot more now, the audiobook thing, because it just doesn't there's nothing like being able to sit down or curl up with a good book and just be able to take it all in. But it seems like I just don't have as much time to sit down with
I
the
know
book.
exactly how you feel. I'm the same way. I just feel like that, like I've got so much on my plate at times, and there's stuff that I want to do and plan to do, and but it just feels like there's never enough time.
Uh,
Um,
Candace says she kicks him in the nuts. I think that's what she
okay, okay. Um, Yeah, there's a series of audiobooks I'm actually on the hunt for right now that I found out about recently, and they're Edgar Allan Poe stories.
Oh, cool.
They're Edgar Allan Poe audiobooks, but the narrator is the man himself, Vincent Price.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I'm looking for those. And somebody wants to point them my way, I'd be more than happy to try to get them.
Blissful says she listens to audiobooks when she's crafting, which, yeah, that's if you're doing something where you can actually listen to I used to listen to audiobooks while I was working sometime. If I didn't have to be on the phones or something like that,
Mhm.
and I was just working on other stuff, I would have an
Yeah,
audiobook
I mean,
going on.
because me and Candace do that a lot with like TV shows or movies. We just use this kind of like background noise as we're doing something, and when you're busy doing something, but you got something playing in the background, you're just hearing that. So I
Yeah.
feel like if we're doing that, why can't we just use that time if we're not actually watching the show or movie or whatever it's playing? We could just listen to a book being read, and to and I, but is that fair though? Like like when you say like somebody asks you, "Have you ever read this book?" and you'd be like, "Well,
You
not
can say I
exactly,
listened
but
to
I've
it.
listened to it."
I mean, a lot of people do listen to books now. I bet there's more people that listen to books than read them now, which is
Mhm.
it's kind of sad when you think about it, but at the same time our lives have become so fast paced and everything's just all it's almost like speeding cars on a freeway.
Yeah.
That's how
But
I feel like my life is.
but can you say that though? Can you say that you have read a book if you just listened to it? Because it's technically the same thing. Your mind is soaking in that same content as
I
you would be.
would say, yeah, I would say you could.
I feel like that's. I feel like it's the same because look at people that aren't able to read they're say they were blind.
Hmm.
But and that's a terrific use for audiobooks in that
Yeah.
case.
Yeah, as an alternative to Braille, if they're not.
Right. And that's the thing, like everything is not available in Braille.
That's right. But there's more stuff available as an audiobook than there would be
Yeah.
Braille. So I think audiobooks are fantastic. When I worked for the library system, actually both library systems I worked for, the one back home and the one here in Louisville, I bet you more people checked out audiobooks than they did actual books, that you would
Mhm.
open up and read. Because it's I think we've done it out of necessity more than anything. If we want to be able to enjoy a book, sometimes we have to go that route.
Well, I think that there are just some people in this world, and I'm kind of one of them, is that I can process stuff quicker when I hear audio of it other than if I read it.
Yeah,
If that,
that
if
makes.
that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like, because sometimes when I read a book, um, I have to read some things that are on like one page a couple of different times before it kind of
Yeah,
processes with me. But if I'm this in the same situation, if I'm just like talking to somebody and we're having a conversation back and forth, it's easier for me to process what they just said, other than if I seen like say they sent me a message on Messenger or in a
yeah.
text or something.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a perfect sense to me because I used to. There could be I know this is kind of over the top, but I used to say the world could be ending or there could be a bomb going off, and used to I could read through anything. still absorb it. Nowadays, I get distracted by a pin drop, if that makes any sense.
Well, that's just ADHD, Dana. Because I know all about that. Me and Candace both know all about that.
But I don't know if it's something like that so much, or just that I have more stress, and so that my mind wanders sometimes and worries about something that I don't need to be worrying about, really.
Right.
But then that takes away from my enjoyment of actually enjoying the written word. There's always something that's pulling me out of that book. But with an audio book, you could put on headphones
Mhm.
or earbuds or whatever, and you can totally immerse yourself.
See, we did something like that with Noah for his homeschool, as because when he was reading the Harry Potter books for when we told him we had him read the Harry Potter books for homeschool, we actually found these audio books on YouTube of the Harry Potter books, but it in where it was on YouTube, there's a video like there in front of you, so like it's reading the story, the whoever the narrator is for those audiobooks,
Hmm.
but at the it's showing the words on the screen, so he could
Oh,
follow
yeah.
along. So
Hmm.
he's reading as the person narrating is saying what he's reading, and I've done that. I did that one time with him, one day with him when we were reading it. So I was reading along, and like it helped me. And I had read those Harry Potter books before,
Hmm.
um, but it helped me process stuff different by hearing a voice narrate that.
Hmm.
And because typically when I would read books, I don't read them out loud, so I'm always like reading them just in my mind.
Hmm. So I used to read them out loud if I was home alone, like if nobody else was around. I would think, though, if somebody was here and heard me reading it out loud, they would be like, "Is Dana losing her mind or
Well,
something?"
that's probably like if I was in my office back there and I was reading a book out loud, Cancer probably like, "Who are you talking to in here?"
Yeah, Steve would definitely look at me strangely. What the heck are you doing? You know. So if it's just you and your dogs, or you and your cats, or
Yeah,
whatever, um, then I actually would read to my dogs sometimes if it was just me and the dogs, and they would sit there, and I don't know if they were paying any attention to what I was reading.
yeah. To your dogs, you probably just like. You ever think about that? Uh, how dogs like if they hear us clearly as we hear each other, or if there's or like how that works with them. I've always wondered that. Like I
Yeah,
always feel like because I know that if you say like your pet's name or whatever, a lot of times it'll grab their attention, they'll come to you or whatever.
yeah.
But like I've always thought like would it be funny if like dog the way dogs hear us talk to them or any kind of animal stuff, it would just sound like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think about that too, Chris. Like when people speak to their dogs in other languages, like I'm not meaning to sound like I'm making fun of people for
Well,
being
it's just how
another.
they learn. I think they have to adapt. It's just like how human children are. Like
Yeah,
when a child is born into a family, they pick up on that language that
yeah,
they're
whatever the
hearing
language may
usually.
be. Yeah,
Yeah.
but if you ask Steve about it, he says, "Dana, they got the brain of a walnut." They
I don't
he
know. I wouldn't say that about all dogs.
he loves his dogs, but he says, "Dana, they don't understand what you're
I
telling them."
like my dogs are pretty smart. I mean, now I think that Miko is smarter than Ghost for sure, but
I think
but
some dogs are smarter than others.
because Miko does something. Candace pointed it out to me that I have never seen another dog do. At least any dog that I've had, And Miko will sit there on the bed. If me and Candace are watching a movie or a TV show or something, he will sit there and watch it with us. Now, he
Uh-huh.
may not know what's going on, he may not understand what they're saying, but he will sit and watch like
Reg
movies or TV shows with
Reg
us.
will do that. He will sit there on the couch sometimes with me, and he'll be staring at the TV. Now, whether he's comprehending it, I don't know, but he's
Yeah, it's
watching.
wild to me, just like this to think like. So I would, as if I had, an ult, like a an unlimited amount of wishes. I know one wish would be like if I could just hear the thoughts of a dog or some kind of animal for one day.
Sometimes if it was our pets, we probably wouldn't want to know what they're saying about us.
So like there's things I need to understand about why they do certain things. Like
Right.
why Ghost. Oh, he's not even in here. I thought he was behind me. But he just decides that he wants to peace in some random corner when we leave the house. And
I
like
wonder that about Sammy too. Why do you want to go right by the entertainment center and squat and pee this humongous
I,
puddle?
yeah, I think it's just I think they just get mad and they just do it out of
They
spite.
do. They do. Because I swear to you, I can let Sammy out and he will pee a flood. And if I don't get up when he wants me to get up, then he will go over right by the entertainment center, squat and pee. He don't hike his leg up. He squats and pees. He's a male. And it runs in underneath the entertainment center and gets around the cords and everything. That makes me so
Well,
mad.
fortunately, Ghost doesn't do that, but he has like one spot he always goes to, and it's like by our family room door, and so it's not like hard to clean up or anything. It's just aggravating,
Mhm.
and I don't know why he does because when we're here. Like he has an area in the house he goes to where he has pads that we place down on a mat and everything, and he'll go to that every time to use it while we're here. But when we leave the house, it's like he's mad as far that we're gone.
Yeah, how dare
I
y'all leave?
show them. It's like, bro,
Uh,
you just hurt yourself.
Sammy also likes to get up on me and Steve's bed and pee on it,
Oh no.
especially on Steve's side of the bed.
Ghost did that to us one time, but that was so. What happened was I accidentally left our bedroom door open, and we usually close it
Yeah.
whenever we leave the house. And he must have got in there and accidentally like pushed the door back to shut, so he got stuck in our bedroom.
I think Candace
And
may have told me about
oh
this.
yeah, well she probably has because it's something she ain't never gonna forget. Because
Mm,
we came home and as we were pulling up, so as you pull up into our driveway, you can see the side of our house where our bedroom window is, and we have an air conditioning unit in the
mm.
window. Um, well, we pull up and we see Ghost's head bust through one
Yeah.
of those vents on the side of the air conditioning unit. And he just like, I'm like, I said, what the hell? I said, that's Ghost. And I ran in the house as fast as I could. I got into the bedroom and like he had, done like about his business, I guess, number one and number two all over the bed. I
Mm,
mean, just like it was just awful. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, I gotta make sure this never ever happens
I
again.
haven't been. Yeah.
So
Uh,
I'm very like um, you know, I try to make sure whenever I leave the house, like I tell Candace, I'm going out to the car or whatever, and like I'm gonna make sure that this place is secure so that we don't have any issues. And we there early on when we had Ghost, we had issues and stuff with just not just that, but like with him because he was a puppy. We had him since he was a puppy, and um, he went through some really bad teething issues where he was chewing
yeah.
up everything he could freaking get a hold of. But he has settled down now, so He's still goofy, but he's slowing down.
Candace says, thankfully those puppy days are over and he's not bad like he used to be. And she says, thank heavens for mattress protectors. Hey, Ghost, there you are, buddy.
He's smelling of this microphone.
He reminds me so much of Reggie. Just the way he kind of cuddles up to you guys and stuff. But Reggie's a little shy. Reggie doesn't, when he realizes he might be on camera or something, he'll get back down and kind of goes
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah, I don't even think Ghost knows what's going on.
He's like, I'm just coming to see my daddy here. But I guess if Chris can stay on here with me till 9:45, what about 3 or 4 more minutes? Um, we'll do that. So if anybody's got anything appropriate, I guess, to ask me and Chris, um, now's the time to do it. Or Chris, is there anything that you and Candace got coming up you want to promote or talk about?
Not
Or
really. I mean, right now, we've not made anything official on the channel or anything yet, but we're just kind of taking a break right now because we got a lot of stuff going on in our real lives. Um, and I apologize to people that we've been behind on putting out more videos. It's all written out and planned out of what we want to do. It's just right now, and I can't. It's not anything I can really get into because it's just some stuff that we got going on around the house. We got and just our car. We got some issues going on with our car and just different things. But once everything is back in order, we get our ducks in a row. I think
Mhm.
we should be able to start focusing more of our time on the channel.
And I'm sure there'll be people there just waiting for you guys to do it because you guys were doing some really interesting stuff. I was really, really interested in it. And when y'all can have me on there again, I would love to come
Yeah,
back on there.
absolutely, man. We love having you on there, and you know, like I said, we talk about it. This is something that always comes up in conversation between me and Candace every week. Is like, are we going to get to do uh, a recording for the channel this week?
Hmm.
And then like we'll plan to, and we'll like pick a day to do it. And then when it comes down to it, like something will come up or something crazy will be going down, like it's kind of out of our control, and it's frustrating. But we'll get there. Just people just need to be patient with us.
Yeah, and I mean, patience. I hope people will extend patience to me because I know that I've changed things around, and now I'm saying that I'm gonna wait a few months before I do another movie munchies. But r- guys, I know some of it may disappoint you guys, the changes I'm making, but I think it's all for the better because that way the movie munchies don't get tired. You know what I mean? And I don't
Yeah.
get tired. Um, and
Well, that's what ultimately you have to do, Dana, is just consider yourself more than anybody else. Of like, because if it's okay if people get burnt out on content they're watching or something,
yeah.
but because that happens with everybody. But if you're the one that's making the content, that I think that's the thing that you want to avoid the most is being burnt out on your
Right.
own content.
And as much as I love doing those movie munchies, that's how I was feeling. I love to do them, but there's actually more planning that you have to do for a movie munchies than
Mhm.
you have to do, like, say, for these watch alongs. The watch alongs don't take much pre preparation. But when I do the movie munchies, I've got to think, okay, what do I have to have ready to go so that this moves smoother, and I'm not
Mhm.
on here for 3 hours trying to make something that should take 20 or 30 minutes to make. Um, so I've started, I've improved here and there. I get some of the ingredients already out and I put them in bowls, and then it's
Mhm.
like you add this, you add that, and here we go. And like the recipe I did today for the fried chicken, it said to use 8 pieces of chicken, but I decided, I was like, there's no sense in making people sit here and wait while I fry 8 pieces of chicken,
Well, another thing you could do to just kind to with the movie Munchies is to like switch out every week. If you keep doing it every week, you could switch them out. Like do like one week you could do like something simple where it
Yeah,
doesn't require a lot of ingredients. It's not complicated to make, and then like the next week you could make a more complicated dish, and then just kind of like trade back and forth. That way, you know, you don't always feel like you're overwhelmed.
right. Because sometimes I feel fine, and other times it feels like I just, no matter how early I start with it, it's like, oh my gosh, it's almost 3. And,
Yeah,
because I
and
I
it's
have to set
stressful.
up the other camera, and I have to make sure that everything's working correctly. And if I have technical snafus, that kind of aggravates me, as it would aggravate anybody. But
I know it's very stressful, and like I said, I've never dealt with YouTube before as far as like making my own content or anything. But and I'm not gonna lie, this the channel that me and Candace work on, it is stressful because like it's not really stressful for us like recording and doing editing and stuff because that it's just the stressful thing for me at least. I don't know about Candace, but for me it's just like is just getting my content out there for people to see,
right.
and I don't want them being to be like, well, they're not putting out their stuff frequently, so maybe I should just stop watching them. And that stuff like that always goes through my head.
Yeah, mine too.
And but I know that's not always. I mean, that may be the case sometimes, but I've learned that you can't worry about that kind of stuff
Right.
because you just gotta go with the flow and let happen what happens.
Hmm. And the most important thing, and I say this as somebody that has become monetized recently, and I did get another nice deposit from YouTube here recently, but I don't see it uh, that often. But it always seems to come when I need the extra money.
Hmm.
So, but for heaven's sake, guys and gals, if you do get monetized, don't depend on that money,
Right? Yeah.
to pay your bills or anything. 'Cause
Always
it
have
ain't
a
gonna do that.
plan B, or backup plan.
But I'm telling you this as somebody that's become recently monetized in the last year or so, is this. If you ain't having fun doing the streams, if it becomes all about,
Oh,
well, how
yeah.
much money can I make? How popular am I going to be? This this is my personal opinion. You can take it or leave it, but I think you're in the wrong business. Because the most important thing above all is to have fun with these things.
Well, that and just there's going to be times when you're putting out a lot of content. You might get, I mean, and just take a break. It's okay to take a break. You don't have to consistently put out content day in day out or every week or whatever it may be. I mean, there's a lot of YouTubers like that will put out like a video and then like you won't see another one for like either 3 weeks or over a month
Yep.
later or something, and that and just because they're putting out, there's a time gap in between those. That doesn't mean that they're not, because a lot of the most people out there that have like the most followers out there, they do that all the time. There's a guy that I watch that has like 200 some thousand followers,
Yep.
and he only puts out like one video like one every other week or like sometimes once a month.
Hmm.
And people, so if you are want, if you're not on YouTube and you don't have a channel, but you've thought about having one, don't get discouraged. Uh, when you're if you see that you're not getting a lot of followers starting out or anything, just give it time. Just keep putting stuff out there as long as you're enjoying it.
Right.
I was like, right now, I think me and Candace on the Death by Stereo podcast channel, we maybe have like less than 30 followers right now. But
Mm.
that's not a big deal to us because we just love putting our thoughts on what we're talking about, like whether it be the monsters or it be these music videos we're watching or whatever. Um, we just do that because that's what we love,
Mhm.
And as long as you're still enjoying talking about the things you love, that's all that matters. Just
Right.
don't ever allow yourself to that passion to go away. Because but so sometimes if you start feeling that way, just take a break, go find something, find a get a new hobby to do for a little bit, and then if you start getting tired of that, come back to what you do on YouTube or whatever.
I think that's probably part of the reason I'm doing the shop too, because I
Yeah,
can
yeah, because you've
alternate
got a
back
lot
and
of stuff
forth.
going on.
Mm. Hey, Russell. Russell says, "Hey, Dana and Crater."
Hey, Russell, what's going on, man?
He's our
How's it?
friendly Canadian.
Yeah, how's it going up there up in the Great White North?
I hope it's doing well. I know. Um, I think it was maybe last night. Russell was saying there were tornado watches or warnings.
Well, I can guarantee that he's not been burning up day in and day out like I have for the past week. Oh my lord, that's one of the downsides to living in the South, I guess, Dana.
Yeah, it's been pretty miserable here too. Russell says it's pretty good now, so I'm guessing the bad
Great
weather moved
news.
out of the area. Which I don't know. Maybe Russell can shed some light on this. Is is Canada one of those places that doesn't get very many tornadoes? I was always thinking that they didn't. I mean that they get
I
them,
mean,
but
I'm not saying they haven't, but I've never heard of really any kind of storms like that happening in
I
Canada.
mean I think they do have tornado outbreaks from time to
I'm
time.
sure they have blizzards and stuff like that going on in Canada, but I don't know. I'm not I'm not good on weather patterns in geographical areas that I'm not familiar with.
No, I'm not either. Um, but guys and gals, it is not. We went over a little bit, which is fine. But it is now 9:54, just shy of 10 o'clock here, Eastern time. So I know Chris has got work. I've got work.
Yep. Sorry.
Steve is on his new shift, but he's got work. He's resting right now. But I got to do a few things before I settle in for the night. But I do want to thank Chris for being on here with me for Southern Comfort
Yeah,
tonight.
absolutely.
And he's got another movie that he can
Yeah, I mean,
watch
I'm just
without me talking and blabbing over top.
I'm really kind of just taken aback by it because like I didn't know the movie before today. I just read a quick synopsis on it online. I was like, check that out. It might be something I might like, and I loved it. Really did. So thank you for having me on here, Dana.
Oh yeah, anytime. Russell says in Ontario up north, one time there was a tornado, and one side of the road was a disaster, and the other side nothing. Yeah,
Ooh,
that's exactly how those tornadoes do. They can destroy one house, and then the house beside it is still standing, and then it may rip up another
yeah,
house.
we I want to say it was like a year or so ago around London, Kentucky, and that area, heading going up towards like Berea and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They got bad tornadoes, and I remember shortly after that it happened, we were going through that area, and it was just like people's homes were ripped to pieces left and right. So yeah, sucks seeing that kind of stuff.
Um, Blissful says great live, Dana and Chris. Thank you, Blissful. And Candace says great live, guys. I appreciate it, Candace. And I want to thank everybody that was in the chat tonight, and even the people that, if you didn't feel comfortable chatting, let's say you were just watching along with us or just listening to our banter back and forth about the movie. Um, I want to thank everybody that was in here tonight, whether you were watching or chatting, or maybe you were just watching the movie and you weren't saying anything. I mean, that's good too, because hopefully you were enjoying it, enjoying watching it as we talked about it tonight. And I will return tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time talking about some more Stephen King film adaptations. And then, of course, there'll be another. Well, Everybody Wants England will return on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to be talking about 2001 Maniacs, Hatchet, and Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Yeah.
And I may have a slightly new intro for Everybody Wants England. So be on the lookout for.
I'm so used to that one that you're always showing.
Well, it'll probably have the same video, but
Uh-huh.
I'll say it'll have different audio.
Also, different music and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we'll be on the lookout for that. Hopefully, I can get my button gear and get that fixed up and ready to go. But as always, my new thing is, before I say the old thing, is I'm off like a
Like a dirty shirt.
And I want to remind everybody before we get off here to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Let's make this a kick ass week. Let's just kick ass and take names this week, whether uh, you've got an outside the home job, a work from home job. If you're a homemaker, that's a big job too. Whatever you're doing, let's kick ass and take names this week. And I'll see everybody next time. So good night, Chris, and good
Good
night,
night,
gang
Dana.
in the
Good night,
chat.
chat. Everybody, have a good night.